let's back up for a moment. I just want to talk about what is Bitcoin, because to me, it represents a few different things. I remember like reading Satoshi's paper way back when and being like, oh my gosh, so there's this guy or guys and gals, we don't really know, because you don't really know who the creator of Bitcoin actually is, who came up with this concept to hide all these Bitcoins all over the internet, and you would go out and mine them with these really intricate mathematical equations. And the more you mined the coins, the more difficult the mathematical equations would become. The thinking being that there's only a finite amount of Bitcoin, and once it's gone, right? Then you have to trade the Bitcoin amongst yourselves, but you can't just keep mining it forever. And it's similar in some ways. It's been proposed to gold in that sense, because there's only so much gold in the earth. Well, there's only so much Bitcoin in the universe that's been hidden in all these different places. So nobody really knows who created it, but people are very actively mining it. And the thinking initially was, hey, can we get away from some kind of central bank policy that's going to be very inflationary? I mean, that's what happens, right? They just keep printing, and then Congress comes up with the Inflation Reduction Act, which we know is not actually going to reduce inflation. They print some more, so you get the Fed, you get governments. Everybody's putting all this paper money out into circulation. Well, what if there was a way to have something different? And maybe not even totally traceable. I mean, it is, because it's on the blockchain, and that's a whole other debate. But something that was a little bit more incognito, that would preserve its value over time, and that would be hard to get. This was effectively what was pitched, and a lot of people got, myself included, very, very interested in this idea. And since then, it's skyrocketed. It's now at some $60,000 a coin. And a lot of financial institutions are getting in on the action, with opportunities for everyday investors to invest in this stuff too. What is, in your estimation, I'm sort of giving you my 60-second synopsis of it, but what does Bitcoin represent to you, Rob?
Yeah, I think the gold. Well, I think the gold analogy is useful, although it only goes so far, because the reality is the analogy applies in that gold exists outside of government regulation or government control, right? Gold is just a naturally occurring element on Earth. There's a finite supply of it. It's difficult to mine. Only 1% to 2% gets created every year. So gold just exists in the natural world. And it's always sort of been used as a store of value throughout civilization, and governments come and go, but gold stays. So Bitcoin is similar in that it's a decentralized digital platform that really operates without the involvement of any government entity. So in that sense, it's sort of similar to gold, but it's also very similar to fiat money in that there actually is no underlying reality to it. There's no naturally occurring element like gold. There's nothing you can touch or taste or smell or see. It's conceptual. It's abstract.
You spend all this money like keeping up your real estate. You spend all this money keeping up, say, your boat or this, that, and the other. You're talking about how wealthy people actually store capital, and storing capital can become quite a headache, right? After a while, and it comes with a lot of costs because you got to maintain all these things. Well, what if you could store your capital most efficiently? I mean, he even mentioned like equity markets, you run certain kinds of risk with regulations and who's in and out of power and taxes, et cetera. And so all of this comes with a certain amount of baggage, if you would. And the advantage you would theoretically have with Bitcoin is that you can just park it, right? And you don't have to worry about it in the same way. Now you have to worry about it in terms of volatility because it goes up and it goes down. It's like all over the place. And, you can have a strong stomach if you're a Bitcoin investor. It's why I encourage people just to, a little bit here, a little bit there. But, I mean, unless you're a maximalist, right? The Bitcoin maximalist. But I think that the reality becomes, do we have a better way of being able to store value in an efficient possible way where you're not going to have to worry about all the things that come along? And so as this catches on, the thinking is that yes, you'll reach a point where there are no more Bitcoins, and more people will be interested in investing it. And as such, you're going to be approaching a much higher valuation.